I need to make sure I can forgive so I can move on. Because if I can't forgive, I knew that day one, if I couldn't forgive her, I was never going to be able to move forward. You know where Suite 260 is?
I don't. Sorry.
Hold on, let me roll up the window because I can't hear you. So it's on South Main Street, right?
Tell him we are the Bank West. We are
same building as Cotton Patch. Okay, so I think we're on the back side. That's Jenkins. We'll go behind on Jenkins and then find a breezeway. All right, thanks. Bye.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. We'll see you. Yeah, dude, I know what I'm doing here.
You want me to do that?
Make it happen.
Ah, yeah!
That's what we're looking for, is that person. You know, we've looked at a couple of different programs, you know, to bring somebody in and do that sort of thing.
But what is it specifically that you're needing them to do? Like
Sales training. I think everything from sales training to negotiation. You know, I mean, whether it's, we've looked at people, like Grant Cardone.
I mean, we talk about this a lot because that's the guy that, so there's three people I really follow a lot and consume so much content.
Yeah.
And each one of them push me in directions that get me really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. He's my sales guy.
Yeah.
Right, so I have a guy that pushes me on one level over here, one level over here. He is like hardcore sales, and that's not what I am. I'm not a hardcore sales guy, but everybody needs it. We all need a little bit of that in us. So if our stick is to give it away, great, but there is that time to ask, and you got to know how to ask, the development of that script, you got to know that stuff, and that's where he's kind of helped me. You know, I've gone through sales training, and it's good enough. Now I'm sure there's things that would even make me better if I want to do that, but I'm not really willing to.
A program like that to like the core. Really? Or is it ever been part of the core?
I've never been part of the core, but I know what the core is.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. It's about for agents or for loan officers. It's about creating discipline. You know, really getting into the discipline of daily activities more so than the outcome of 200 transactions in a year or 10 transactions in a year. So I don't need the core, me personally, to get me to that place. So it starts with, are you in the right frame of mind to accept and understand the daily things that you have to be doing to reach a particular goal? And if your particular goal is here, your daily activities have to match here. Because if you fall forward, basically, which means you still didn't reach your number, in your mind, your falling forward is still good. It's still really, really good because you 10x'd, right, your activities, which would surpass your ultimate annual goal, right, or your semi-annual. And then it's about creating those daily wins, right, the celebrations on a daily basis, so that you have something to look forward to daily, not just, I didn't hit it on the monthly basis or I didn't hit it on the quarterly basis. You've got to break it down to daily type stuff. And so I don't know if that's what Core does or Grant Cardone does. I know that's what I have to have in my life. And it's probably because I have listened to so much training without going through it that I'm like, this is what they have to be telling me.
See, that's one of the interesting things with that where we got into a conversation, because that's where he started. He started at, okay, well, let's figure out where these people, where their mindsets are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if they say, oh, I want to do, whatever it is, 100 deals a year,
right,
then they have to be in the right mindset to be. So let's start there. Figure out what their habits are, what their sort of, where they're at, and to take them there, to give them the best opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right, but it's all looking at, okay, you want to do 100, great. So you go to the fair every weekend, or you play tennis 4 times a week, you're not going to get. I'm sorry.
Right.
If you have that and your activities match this, hopes and dreams aren't going to align, right? I mean, you have to be putting in that much work to get to that goal because there's competition, there's loss. I mean, you're going to have 4 deals going into the month, end up with 1.
You have to count all that. Yeah.
Right, all that into account. So, are you willing to put in the daily work? Really passionate about the media side, the social engagement side. You know, it's obviously you see it. I mean, it's a very disruptive type industry. I don't want to be a commodity, so I have to bring more value to my audience than ever before, and I have the perfect platform to do it. So I'm not complaining about any of that. I have the perfect platform, the opportunity to do that. Now I just need to go execute. And so that's why I hired, you know, Brandon full time to come in and just do all my videos and editing. I'm bringing in the firm to help me with the speaking, because I want to write articles like for CNBC or Inman News and create some published content, and then go out there and do speaking in front of. Doesn't have to be always real estate. It could be in other. Well, yeah, but it's going to center around a couple things. My story, my journey, I think is really cool because of the rise and falls that I've had. I mean, having a company, that very big company, having it, you know, fall because I had an embezzlement from a CFO and putting her in federal prison and what all that did.
I don't think I know your story.
Oh, dude, it's a really, I mean, I've had, like, you know, a mortgage bank, you know, we funded billions a year, and, you know, we had employees all over 37 states, and I had a CFO embezzle money and embezzle, you know, $5+ million. And, you know, it wasn't the money that was the issue, it was the timing of what happened, because we had the money to fund it. It's just, it was in January 2008 when I found out, and I had to report it to all my warehouse lenders. And obviously when you report executive level embezzlement in January 2008, banks freak out and they shut off your warehouse lines. Well, that's the oxygen for a mortgage bank. Sure. You don't have warehouse lines, you don't have funding, you don't have loan officers, nothing. So we had to shut it down overnight for shutdown, right? Pretty much is what happened.
Right.
So at that point, you know, we had to go through that whole process of what happened. They didn't know if it was me as the CEO, founder of the company, so I had to go through the whole vetting process with the FBI, U.S. District Attorney's Office. I had to organize a very orderly shutdown. We had to get, we're a big company, 401ks, disbursement. It took me 2 years to shut this company down. And at the same time, I had to protect a personal brand, so I had to go spend money to find her, hire a private detective. My law firm did all that, found her, brought her back. She fled. Yep, brought her back. We got her in a deposition. She laid out everything that happened, and ultimately went to federal prison. Okay, yeah, but there was that was a big company that I lost. Well, okay. You just start over, right? I mean,
swim, right?
well, yeah. I mean, that's just the way, you know, my mind works, and I didn't. I mean, okay. Now, it wasn't that there wasn't hard times,
Right.
but it wasn't ever a place where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I give up. I'm defeated. You know, all I did was like, okay, how do I fix this? What do I do here? Now, how do I create that so that I can start again? And I did. I created another company, a really nice mortgage bank for another company that said, hey, you know, can't hire you like to do this forever because of everything, but we need you because you know exactly what you're doing. You're the only one that knows how to do this. We're going to hire you as a consultant, consultant of the company. We need you to build this out for us. 2 years, did, and then I exited out of that. Had a firm, a big firm, a global firm, hire me to do consulting for a second lien company that was doing second lien home improvement loans, and needed my advice as a non-interested third party to say, is this a company we keep? Is it a company that has any opportunity? And literally, I mean, when you get into the global company, you got a big ass board that you're reporting to, and I'm going in after they've spent a ton of money and saying, you made a bad deal, you made a bad investment, you need to shut it down. And the chairman's like, I've never made a bad decision. And I'm just like,
It was a bad choice.
it's a bad decision.
Wow.
And they're like, okay, vetted it, and they said, and I mean, even the day we talked to him, and he's like, you know what, that's the right decision. I have never made a bad decision like that, and I'm thankful to you for pointing that out.
Wow.
And so, you know, it's things like that that, you know, I have, but there's also the other stuff that I haven't talked about, which is just, you know, the journey and what you have to go through to overcome your mind, right? So it's in the right place so that you can start again, you know, and I think that is where I like to play, the mindset space, the entrepreneurial. I use sports and business a lot because I played sports, how I use that in business to help me overcome challenges, how you have to stay humble in times of winning, all that stuff. So that's where I was focusing with her on today was, okay, let's like go forward with like the speaking piece. What can that look like going forward? How do I turn that into something that can generate more eyeballs?
So I think there's some things that we need to fill first, just from a third-party credibility standpoint,
100%.
in order to make sure that portfolio is really well-rounded and well-balanced, so we can start pitching for some big opportunities where you can speak and have impact. And I think there's different levels that you can speak at. You know, I certainly can see you speaking to smaller groups, but I think if you can really find a way to deliver your story and everything that you've been through from a place of raw vulnerability on a big stage, I think that'll really take you to the next level.
I don't think I'd have a problem doing it. I just don't know, like how you crafted that. I just get up and go, right? So, I mean, there's some thought process, yes, 100% that goes into it, but I'm sure that somebody that speaks for a living could say, hey, move that from the bottom to the top and move that one from the top to the back and the middle and all that. I mean, you know, it's strategic. Exactly. Right. I think about those things, but sometimes it's just not in the execution when I'm up there when I'm up there talking. So I know I don't have a problem getting up in front of people and talking. That's never going to be an issue. It's making sure that I know the content so well that I can move things easily based on how I'm reading the audience and what they're feeling, and I'm seeing it through them, to be able to move it around and not take me off topic. They want to know that I'm not some perfect person on camera that knows only how to talk about mortgages but doesn't really understand real life experiences. Right. And so that's been the fun part of our journey in documenting all this, and where I think that it'll be even more fun down the road as we get deeper into the speaking, the book, the coaching, all those kind of things. Because you know, yes, I love mortgages. I mean, I do. I really do love that part of my business. There's great revenue in it. We are impacting people's lives at a level that, you know, I couldn't do in other areas. But then there's also that side of me that says I can still do that because I have a phenomenal team, and I'll continue to build a phenomenal team. I don't need to be the guy doing the loans. So what's next? My value to them, which is who I have a responsibility to, is out here doing what I do, and maybe even doing it on bigger stages, because that protects their livelihoods and their families, because I have the ability to drive it to them. Yep. They can kill it. Yeah. I'm hunting and I'm bringing it in. They're skinning it and everything else. Yeah. So.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I had no idea you went through that. That's crazy.
My first call was actually to my church.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my first call. I called our church, which is like a 14, 15, 16,000 person church. I just called the pastor and said, look, here's what I went through. I need somebody to walk me through this, because I'm dealing with betrayal, theft, loss. I'm dealing with all these things. And I said, I need to make sure I can forgive so I can move on. Because if I can't forgive, I knew that day one, if I couldn't forgive her, I was never going to be able to move forward. Right? And so I really, I mean, that's as simple as it was. I need to forgive so I can move forward. I didn't know how that was all going to work out or happen. I just knew that's what I had to do. Forgive, move forward. Everything else, we started to figure out. But there was a lot. I mean, obviously, I broke that down into something really simple. There's a lot more that went into it, but it was purely based on forgiveness. Because if I would have held on to that, it would have eaten me up.
Yeah, it would have affected everything.
We had a lot of stuff we had to go through. Yeah. But you know, wife calling me, don't come home. You got Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 4, all outside the house, and you know, cameras, and they're waiting for you to show up, because you know it was a big story. Sure. think it's the last time I watched the news. It was when I was on it. I mean, literally, something happens. I mean, the FBI gets involved. I mean, we had a office, and I'm coming down the elevator, and all the news channels, and you gotta, and my lawyers are with me. Like, are you sure you want? I'm like, dude, I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm gonna have an interview.
Yeah.
And I just rolled straight up with an interview right there. And they asked me a question. I just answered the questions. So I wouldn't have answered that way. I'm like, I don't know how you would have answered it. I'm just answering the question. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Right. It is what it is.
Wow, man. That's crazy. That's a story that needs to be told, man, for sure. That's crazy.
This jacket's hot. I mean, it's a very watered down industry that we all play in. Where's the value that we're bringing and what's memorable? We'll hop outside. We'll figure out what we're going to do first. All right, man. Enjoy. Adios.
All right, I'm gonna give you the thumbs up.
Oh, you already thumbs up? So here's what we had. A $250,000 purchase price turned down by 2 other lenders. So how did we get this loan approved? Here's the challenge. We had, okay, I can't say that. Damn it. You had me thinking. How did we get it done? One of my team members speaks Portuguese. We called the employer in Portugal, built the 2-year history, or built the, damn it. This is a one-take video.
No.
It is. It always a one take. We then went and looked at the transcripts of their move, saw the receipts of documentation, and I went too detailed. So we took 2 years, dental schooling, back to. All right, hold on. Let me get my head around this. That all packaged together is exactly how we got that loan done.
You already done?